Hi, my name is Vanessa and I'm from ACM and I work in aged care recruitment. I work everything from nurses to senior management, chefs, you name it, anything to do with aged care that I do. Honestly, it's got to do with what my life has been like, to be honest with you. I started in recruitment probably about 8, 9 years ago and I went straight into blue collar. And the first time someone approached me about doing healthcare recruitment, my first question was why? I couldn't understand why I was going to want to do this. I thought I didn't have the experience, I didn't have the qualifications, and I really didn't think I had enough to give back. But what I learned when I first started meeting with people like nurses as well as organisations was the difference about what I could do and what I could achieve better. My mum was in an aged care facility for probably 15 years. And what I mean by that is she started in a retirement home. She was out at the IRT site out at Campbelltown, which is the Macarthur region, which was really nice. And she was in a self-contained flat. And then she had Parkinson's disease. And then after a while, she started getting a little bit more worse. So they put her into the low care. And then the next minute she went into, moved down to Taraji into one of the higher care sites. And then they moved her into the real high care sites out there at the back of Taraji, which was absolutely beautiful. What it did for me was gave me an insight into aged care. So when I started getting asked about doing aged care recruitment, it changed everything for me. I remembered this particular nurse was incredible, down to the day that my mum passed. She really looked after me. She always used to ask me, Vanessa, can I get you a cup of tea? What can I do to help you today? And she just basically really made me feel warm and fuzzy. She always remembered my name, always talked about my mum, everything. So it was an absolutely incredible experience. So when I went into aged care recruitment and I started talking to these nurses, things sort of changed for me. I remembered the experiences about how they treated me and what I could do to make that difference as well when I interviewed nurses, and I could tell who was passionate and who wasn't, who gave a damn, who really knew what it meant to make a difference to the people's lives. And every time I kept coming back to this one lady down at the IRT site down in Taraji, and I knew what it took to hire the right people for the right job. That's my why. Everything to do with my mum. There's a lot of different things that I think about, to be honest with you. Number one, do they have the skills, the qualifications? Are they able to meet the compliance? There are certain aspects of this job that, yes, it's a tick a box. Once they can tick that box, then I need to be able to look at what really takes to be that person who works in aged care. And I look at who they are. Are they warm? Are they fuzzy? Do they know their skills? If I talk about a registered nurse, can they do multiple thinking all at once? What happens when they've got three things coming to them all at one time? How do they make that critical decision-making side of it? And so I make sure I ask questions about how their critical thinking works for them. I also ask about how they feel about talking with somebody who is aging, about their life experience. What is the best part of their job? Normally it's those really cheeky older people talk about these stories, their first date, their first love. I can't tell you the rest of the things they tell me because it's a little bit cheeky and a little bit naughty, but that's aged care for you. These are people who have experienced a full lifetime, and you have to be that right person to be able to draw that kind of information out of somebody in these care homes. Everybody thinks it's going to be boring, that there's not going to be anything to do, They forget about realistically what it means to be able to go into an aged care and actually work for them, I mean, a lot of the times I thought for myself to take care of my mum would have been difficult. And then, to be honest with you, taking care of my own mother would have been difficult. I don't think taking care of another person, though, is the same thing. When we go into aged care, it's about purpose driven. What can we do to bring some joy back into people's lives? And it's very much around those kinds of things that aged care is about. We don't realize that an oldie has so much cheek, has so much fun to give back. We always think that these guys are boring, they're going to be stuck in beds and everything like that. It's not the case. They just want to enjoy their lives too. What we forget are the stories that people have to tell, the history that they bring to the table. Most of them have this lifetime and this wealth of knowledge that only certain people can bring it out. They're cheeky, they're fun, they're naughty at times, but they give so much joy And when you come to work every day and you walk in their room to say, hi, how are you? You normally get this really bright and happy voice that's greeting you because they're really happy to see you. One of the most important things for me before I even get to the point of even presenting a candidate to a client is getting to know them. A lot of people these days, they do this phone call with somebody and get to know them over the phone. I like to do a face-to-face, and if I can't meet them in person face-to-face, I get online and I jump online and we do a face-to-face online. You know, it's great. We have a conversation. We get to know each other. What is their background? What is their passions? What drives them? Those are the most important things. And then when I present them to a client, I put it all together. I do things like my reference checks. I really want to make sure that somebody really is the right fit for aged care. What's been their background? What can they bring to the table? But then when we present to the client, we want to put the whole picture together. We don't want to just talk about them as this is what they do. They're an aged care nurse, whether they're a registered nurse, enrolled nurse, or an AIN. We want to talk a little bit about their background, what they do, what is their de-stresses. All those kind of things is what we come together to bring the presentation to the client. So if you really want to work with a recruiter who really enjoys aged care, knows how to bring value to your business, who genuinely cares and knows what the difference is, then give me a call today. My name's Vanessa and I'm from ACM. Thanks.